Yoshi Key GRG8 says NBA just gave him the MVP because of his pathetic whining and crying episodes. That should have been Jokic's third straight MVP then. And Kevadia 9511 says his conditioning choices has cost him his prime years, maybe a potential NBA trophy. Your talent can only get you so far, and stop telling that Embiid stole MVP from Joker. He practically begged, crying like a child, to the NBA, the media, and every other Spurs to give him the MVP. And the worst part, comma, 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 using commas as ellipses, that's the level of intelligence we're dealing with here. Joker won the NBA trophy and Finals MVP same year. Correct, you can do that. The Finals MVP can only be given to someone who's in the finals. It's a fun fact. This is the one that set me off. Even when healthy, Embiid is not a better center. Never was and never will be. The rivalry was manufactured. Jokic is already a Hall of Famer. Embiid will be forgotten. This person isn't a Jokic fan. They're specifically excited for Embiid to be forgotten. People hate this man so much. And that's kind of the core of what I'm trying to get at. Here, I also cannot emphasize enough that I just picked up my laptop after I started reading these comments and opened it and went to the video. Like, I'm not ready to make a YouTube video, but I'm gonna have to make a YouTube video about this. I don't think I have ever seen an athlete so like, it's not Flanderized, because Flanderized is like coming from Ned Flanders in The Simpsons. That's when someone's character is like exaggerated, like the parts of someone's character are exaggerated. I mean, it's usually fictional. But like Kawhi being quiet and awkward, maybe that gets Flanderized because he's probably pretty normal and just doesn't like to talk to the media, but everybody acts like he's Zach Greinke or something. Love Zach Greinke. All right, more comments. That MVP was the result of people not wanting Jokic to get 3 in a row, and it only resulted in another second round job, COME job, as Jokic raised the real trophy. GDJB742 says, Joel Embiid has always been fool's gold. 76ers should have found this out a long time ago. That's actually the comment that broke my brain. Joel Embiid has always been fool's gold. Let me tell you a little bit about Joel Embiid. One thing about Joel Embiid, actually. Joel Embiid is the number 1 player in NBA history in points per minute. I am going to say that again. Joel Embiid is the number 1 player in NBA history by a good margin, like a significant margin, in points scored per minute played. And if the wording of that statistic is confusing or makes it sound less significant, the NBA, like the game is not, the NBA basketball is measured in points scored, and time is measured occasionally in minutes. So like he has just accumulate, like in the amount of every second that he has spent on an NBA court put together and averaged out, he puts more points on the board than Michael Jordan, than LeBron James, than Kobe Bryant, than Luka Doncic, than Stephen Curry, than Kevin Durant. than fucking Wilt Chamberlain. Well, I don't know if Wilt is included in that stat, because that Wilt obviously had insane numbers in a completely different time. But in Joel's MVP season and the season afterward, when he played, I think, 39 games and then got injured, but was averaging fucking 36 points, he was breaking Wilt records. Joel Embiid, there is some, and it'll never be addressed, like many things in this world. There is some weird, like, Freudian issue that people have with Joel Embiid as a person, I guess, that bleeds into, like, their ability to understand the game of basketball. That doesn't happen, I don't think, with, like, a single other player. Maybe I see a level of brain rot when you bring up LeBron as, like, in the GOAT conversation, like the Jordan and won't have a conversation about it people have the same kind of aura of brain rot as the anti-Embiid people. But and by the way, like, I kind of think they're tied and it's hard to compare. I'm not like a LeBron stan or anything. No, like, I just think the Jordan people are insane. Like, the only Jordan. Anyway. Joel Embiid in his prime was a defensive player of the year candidate, an MVP, one of, like, the best passers in basketball. He improved on his weaknesses every single offseason. He was bad passing out of double teams. He got better at that. He didn't have a great three-point shot. Ben Simmons was supposed to develop that. That's, like, when I get this rolling, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what Joel had to do for other people. We're going to talk about every single year and what went wrong and the people that failed him. And I am not Joel Embiid's water boy. He is immature at times. He is not a dog like Tyrese Maxey is, or like, you know, Kevin Durant is, or even maybe like Jokic is. But Joel Embiid is an absolute dominant force in basketball, in his, like, the prime idea of Joel Embiid. Saying that he has been fool's gold for his whole career, even if you're trying to spin it like you're talking about, like, injury proneness, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the injury thing has also been completely blown out of proportion. Not blown out of proportion, sorry. Like, obviously, he didn't play the first 2 years of his career. He played 31 games in year 3. People loved saying he played 31 games in 3 years, because that just sounds better to them, even though that's, you know, whatever. 31 games in his first season. And then he never really played, you know, he's injured a lot. He's a 7'1", 7'2", you know, 300-pound man who's jumping up and down for a living. That's why he falls a lot. He, like, his doctors told him to fall when he was coming back from those injuries. What I'm trying to say here is, there was, like, a whole multi-year period where he was playing 55, 65 games a season, and he was the sole reason the Sixers were winning 50-plus games. Like, Ben Simmons, I mean, we've seen since then, he's a mental toaster in a bathtub. I hope the man has a good life. He's got a lot of money to play around with. He did nothing for Philadelphia. And everyone knew that at the time, and everybody knew that when he left. But, I don't know what's going on with you guys. What, can someone tell me, can a Joel Embiid hater tell me in the comments, like, what it is about him, like, actually? Like, if you look in the mirror, what is it? What is going on? Because it's not that deep. He doesn't kill people. He's not even a bad, like, Kyrie Irving literally promoted fucking Mein Kampf and Hitler's ideology, and everybody thinks he's fucking awesome because he's chill on Instagram. And Kobe Bryant raped a woman and then felt bad about it, and he's now dead and nobody talks about it. Like, and I'm not saying we should talk about it all the time or like bring up the worst thing about any one random person all the time, but I mean, Joel Embiid doesn't drink alcohol. He's been married to the same woman for I don't know how long, at least 5 years I think now, or at least with her for that long. They have 2 kids. He just wants to like play basketball and go home and be with his family. He's too honest in interviews. He's emotional. He's competitive. These are traits that like everybody in the league has, and most people, the thing that everybody glosses over, the thing that like kids don't realize and stuff. I mean, or not just like, you don't get hated like this unless you're special. You don't get hated like this unless there is a reason, unless you're a threat to something or someone. And what is Joel Embiid a threat to? Jokic fans hate him more than almost anybody. Toronto Raptors fans absolutely despise Joel Embiid because they know how close they were to being the team that he beat and went to the finals and all that shit. They should be more concerned that they won a title that year, but every time I encounter a Toronto Raptors fan in the wild, they would much rather talk about Joel Embiid crying than themselves winning. I think, microcosm of the whole Joel Embiid experience. Also, crying. Like, Joel Embiid cried in the tunnel. He is, like, putting literally all of his emotional, mental, and physical energy, all 3 of those, entirely into his job, his craft. And the Sixers lost that game on the greatest shot in NBA history. Like, no, there's never been another shot like that. You say the shot, and everybody knows what you're talking about now, like 2025. 4 bounces. Kawhi did a whole rainbow around the court. Ben Simmons was supposed to pick him up on a switch, by the way. Embiid defended him the entire way into the corner. He's in that clip. He's in those pictures. He's looking up at the basket. You've seen him. Like, he's standing up looking at the basket with his shoulders hunched. And you clown him for crying in that moment. I mean, there's the whole conversation about the manosphere and people who think crying makes you... Like, crying's literally like a animal release of energy, of stress, and of sorrow, and like grief. Crying is literally good for you, like scientifically, just at a baseline to start the conversation. And then it's good for you mentally too. Like, it's a release of energy. It's like not an admittance, but it's like an allowance of yourself to be that upset and to have like a recognition of what you have lost. And I've lost a lot of people in my life, and maybe that's why I feel so strongly for Joel Embiid in certain ways. He lost his brother Arthur in 2014. He was younger than Joel. He was back home in Cameroon. I know it was on like an automobile related accident, whatever it was. Joel Embiid was away from home in a city that's not easy to live in if you don't know it. It's not easy to play here. And he was developing his skills, his craft. looking forward to seeing his brother again soon. There's a specific story, I don't remember exactly, but he lost him. His son's name is Arthur now, his older son. He's adorable. Joel Embiid has put like his entire life into what he does, and he's done it better than almost anybody who's ever attempted to do it. And he didn't start trying until he was like 15. He didn't play the game. He didn't even know it. He was playing volleyball and soccer. People act like he's selfish. People act like Joel feels like he's owed something that he's not. And if anything, it is the opposite. Very few players, I'm not going to look it up right now, but I doubt there's more than 5 players who've been on a single team as long as Joel now has on the Sixers. 11 seasons. I guess only 9 if you only count playing seasons, but he was a high draft pick and was already like a face of the process Sixers, who had no face whatsoever. Went through hopefully you know a little bit about the last 10 years of Sixers basketball, but I recommend you listen to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez, like an episode where they recap it, or find a YouTube video that kind of goes into detail on like from the process to now, because the version you hear in the national sports media is not the full story. It's a microcosm of how Philadelphia is treated in sports. It's a microcosm of how media is consumed in society. I love the word microcosm, if you couldn't tell already. This video is sponsored. No, I'm kidding. I'm doing this for free. You're welcome. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to collect my thoughts to say more, and I'm going to have to come with statistics and with clips and with anecdotes. But I guess the bottom line, the reason I'm looking at my computer screen talking to you right now, is that I did not realize how far the narrative on Joel had been twisted beyond reality. I didn't realize how much people would still hate him when he's not even threatening for MVP anymore. And I am scared, honestly. I knew deep in my soul that if the Sixers didn't pull off some sort of, after 2019, the Kawhi shot, or after the Jimmy Butler, like the 2020, whatever, 2021, there were a couple Sixers teams that had a shot. And I knew after those teams, there was almost no chance it was going to happen. And I knew that if it did not happen, Joel Embiid would go down in history as like a Patrick Ewing, and also ran, if that, because he hadn't put together many full seasons, and everybody's obsessed with the fact that he hasn't gotten out of the second round, even though we are all capable of nuance, and you can look at each year, which I guess I will have to do and come back and do that. And I'm not saying there's an excuse for every single time. Like, he has underperformed in the playoffs sometimes. He's also scored 50 points against the Knicks in the playoffs. He's also hit, like, game-winning shots in the playoffs. He hit a game-winning shot against the Raptors in the playoffs. He also averaged like 33 points against the Knicks in that 6-game series. The 2 seed versus when we were the 7 seed. I'm a Sixers fan. Duh. I live in Philadelphia, so fuck off. I didn't know how bad it got, and now I'm terrified that like Joel Embiid is actually going to be laughed at after he retired, like treated as a joke. And the basketball player that Joel Embiid is, I mean, if you know, you're nodding with me. Like, there's almost nobody comparable. Kobe's bag, Dirk's like, get away from me, can't hit this shot. Like KD's unblockability in the mid-range, where he was automatic for like 5 years. This year he's kind of like, he's injured all over, and he hasn't been hitting those middies. 38% 3-point shooter, 88% free throw shooter. Those are approximate, in his better years. This is all off the dome. I should wrap it up. I might just post this raw footage, honestly. I am so angry at the world and the internet for many reasons, but for the way that Joel Embiid is treated, both as a human being and as a basketball player, almost equally. And if you partake in that, you should be ashamed of yourself. Honestly. Alright, I'm going to make a more detailed manifesto on this, and I'll be back. But for now, I guess I'm going to post this as a YouTube video. Cool. Bye. My name's Joe, by the way. Feel free to subscribe if you like pain.